I call the Wednesday, December 21st, 2022 Bremerton City Council meeting to order. The council members and I met at 5 p.m. at the 6th floor conference room for a briefing to discuss tonight's agenda. At 5:30, we moved here to the first floor chambers to conduct the council meeting in person. And because we encourage community involvement, we will invite the public also to join us in person or participate remotely via Zoom or through BCAT. That tonight's agenda was amended to add item 9A. First up, we have the mayor's report. Mayor Wheeler.
All right, thank you, Council President. Good evening, Council. So hope you've been staying warm and enjoying the holiday season and staying safe. So just have a quick slide. It's going to be a snow update. So I don't know how you all commuted. I hope it was relatively safe. I use my normal commute method, which is walking. So this jacket's kind of helpful on days like this. You know, especially when you're out walking, you always see things, and you want to be sure you're seen while you're looking around.
I had an appointment Thursday morning to get new tires because winter's coming, and it got here right before. But it was nice when I was at the dealership, they were working on the car. I used the city's Swarm app and planned my route home based on the roads that would be getting the most recent plowing and the most recent de-icing and things like that. So it was really, really helpful. So,
Oh, very
I
good.
think it came a little earlier than we expected yesterday morning.
I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and get started, and when Hans and Mike have this ready to go, they can just put this up on screen, but just a little briefing on what we've been doing this week. So Monday at 4 a.m., the crews were called in to apply salt and brine to the primary and secondary roads. And that was in preparation for freezing weather. 24-hour operations were initiated. On Tuesday, 24-hour operations continued with plowing of snow and slush to remove ahead of the deep freeze. And there was also the beginning of a application of sand and salt mix, and that occurred Tuesday. Wednesday, today, 24-hour operations continue. Primary and secondary routes are constantly being monitored, and there is a focus on hilly areas and residential streets. The reports coming back from the drivers are that most of the primary and secondary are done, but we are taking inputs from folks to, just because there's going to be spots where there has been melt and then refreeze. And so we'll come back as needed. Anticipate keeping a 24/7 type of tempo till about midday on Friday. That's just a little bit of what I was just talking about. So the crews are now in residential neighborhoods working. My personal observation is there's obviously more work to do. Just even on my trip down here, we're noticed a few areas, but that's to be expected. And that's why we're going to stay, working with the director, and of course the street operations. We'll stay on it. All right, next slide. We're getting close. So this is just a snapshot of what we've done over the years since Snowmageddon in 2018. And you can just read for yourself the new purchases and then the features that were added with each of our purchases to put more plows on the road, essentially to put more plows on the road. And there seems to be, I don't know why, but a lot of folks are willing to step up and get that extra training to drive a plower. So which is awesome. So we've got plenty of city employees that have actually taken the extra training, and now we have enough folks to continue with this around the clock service. And right, we'll just I'll keep this here just for your review afterwards. And council, it's been a pleasure working with you this year. And I just want to wish you and anybody who's watching tonight, peace and joy as you celebrate the holidays and a healthy and prosperous new year. So thank you.
Thank you. Same to you, Mr. Mayor. What was that? Your ringtone? Okay, now we will go to the consent agenda.
Thank you, President Goodnow. Tonight, we're gonna have a little bit of a different consent agenda breakdown. Due to a potential conflict and appearance of fairness, items A through J and item K will be motioned and voted on separately. So right now, I will read A through J. A, claims and check register. For approval on the consent agenda are the following items. A, claims and check register. 1, check numbers 400-720 through 401-041 and electronic fund transfers V36368 through V6463 and the grand total amount of $3,410,857.77. 2, regular payroll for pay period ending November 15th, 2022, and the amount of $1,023,841.60. 3, regular payroll. I'm so sorry. Is incorrect. Apologize. Here we go. Sorry about that. So please strike the claims and check register that I just read. We have approval of the following checks and electronic funds are check numbers 401-042 through 401-237 and electronic fund transfers V36464 through V36575 and the grand total amount of $6,382,017.18. 2, regular payroll payouts for pay period ending November 30th, 2022, in the amount of $13,339.92. 3, regular payroll for pay period ending December 15th, 2022, in the amount of $1,030,619.22. B, minutes of meeting December 7th, 2022. C, minutes of study session December 14th, 2022. D, confirmation or confirm reappointment of Eric Patterson to the Planning Commission. E, confirm reappointment of Maggie Rich to the Planning Commission. F, Fifth Amendment to the agreement with Kitsap County for the incarceration of city prisoners. G, Public Works Agreement with AJ Spray Foam Services, DBA Slabjack Geotechnical for the 2022 Sidewalk Trip Hazard Removal Project. H, Ordinance number 5465, amending Ordinance number 5442, establishing the City of Bremerton's fiscal year 2022 budget as amended by Ordinance number 5450. I, Ordinance number 5466, adding sections 2.76.170 to the Bremerton Municipal Code entitled Compost Procurement. And J, Ordinance number 5467, amending chapter 3.12 of the Bremerton Municipal Code entitled 1% for Arts Fund.
Does any member of the public wish to comment on any one of these items on the consent agenda? Do we have anybody online? Would like to comment? Okay. Seeing none, we will go to the council for a motion to approve. Councilmember Coughlin,
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Vice President Chamberlain,
Second.
And this would be for items A through J.
we have a motion and a second. I call for the question.
Councilmember Chamberlain,
Yes.
Frey,
Yes.
Coughlin,
Yes.
Dennehy,
Yes.
You may be on phone,
Can you hear me? Yes.
not in the room.
I can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay.
Yes.
The answer is yes. I'm glad. Thanks, Councilmember Mockler.
I can hear you too.
Okay, excellent. It's a chambers thing. Okay, thanks a lot.
Mockler,
Yes.
Younger,
Yes.
Goodnow.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Next would be item 4J or 4K, acceptance of the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee's 2023 funding recommendations.
So that's it. Does any member of the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to the council for a motion.
I move acceptance of the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee's 2023 funding recommendations as specified under consent agenda K.
We have a motion and second. We will call for the question.
Councilmember Frey,
Yes.
Coughlin,
Abstain?
thank you. Dennehy,
Yes.
Mockler,
Yes.
Younger, Chamberlin,
Yes.
and Goodnow is also an abstention. So we have 5 yeses and 2 abstentions.
Thank you. Up next is public recognition. As noted on the agenda, public recognition provides an opportunity for attendees to address the council on any city-related item that is not already listed on tonight's agenda. You may line up at the podium, or participating by Zoom, please raise your hand and it will be recognized. We only ask that you state your name for use in the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. A timer will be used so that everyone is treated equally. With that, I open public recognition.
Good evening, everyone. Merry Christmas. Excuse me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Daryl Riley. And I wanted to take this last city council session of the year to probably offer you a lens, a different view of a lens that you probably should take into consideration as it relates to the DEI situation and the Racial Equity Advisory Committee. So I've been told often that my passion kind of supersedes my message a lot of times. So we want to make sure that we don't let that happen this time. It's also ironic to be the only Black person in this room talking about this issue. But for the record, I'm not upset or angry at anyone or dislike anyone, including the mayor. I actually think he's a nice guy, smart guy. He's my neighbor. However, I do dislike, and I really take offense to the entire council and the mayor's lack of intentional is the word, concern and leadership as it pertains to race and equity in Bremerton. Mr. Goodnow, I was your first choice after being the last person interviewed for the Racial Equity Advisory Committee. And what you said to me was, you said that I was a straight shooter who would bring credibility and a strong voice. You referred to me as no nonsense and committed. And I've proven you correct in your assessment by being consistent since August of 2020. From the onset, I was adamant to you that this wasn't going to work or wasn't going to be substantive without the city in totality involved. I told you, I told legal, I told everybody who asked. You guys kind of didn't say anything for a while, but eventually everybody, gave in to my delusions and said, well, the mayor doesn't want to be involved in that. To be honest with you, I didn't believe you. So I asked him in front of my house. I said, Mr. Mayor, why don't you come to the mayor meeting and consider being involved in the Racial Equity Advisory Committee? Because the way the charter is written, you got the keys to the car. We can't drive the car unless you give us the keys. What he said to me was, well, Daryl, I used to be the council president, and I'm pretty sure I could come up with some conventional language where the city could be involved with the Racial Equity Advisory Committee. That's what he said to me as he was stamping a stake for his campaign in my front yard with Sonny in the car. So I was elated. I thought I had accomplished something that you guys told me was out of the question, but then when he got to the meeting, he switched up and he started backing off and he wouldn't give a clear answer. And it was a lot of hemming and hawing and shit. Excuse my language. And I didn't say anything at the time, but I was really pissed because he told me different. And I'm here today to say that he told me different. Not that he lied, but I don't know what changed. We still continued on though. And we built the infrastructure. We did the outreach to the community. We compiled the data and you participated in that. We had our forum. We had most of the Black leaders talk about the things that they would like to see from the committee, the things that they would like to see from the city. We had people from every office in this building participate in that, as well as our summit on race. So I'm speaking from the place of a subject matter expert based upon what I've done in this community. Then you disappeared. You disappeared. And after you getting me hyped up by encouraging me like you did, you disappeared. I know you had new responsibilities as council president and all the influx. I understand all that, but it seemed like all your interest with equity disappeared with it. As it pertains to that group. You had an intricate relationship there, a lot of advice. We had a lot of substantive conversations and all of that went away. And now we're on a committee that you're in charge of and we're not hearing from you. We haven't heard from you since, man. Not even a message of support, And what it reminded me of, and this ain't a shot at you, but what it reminded me of is the conversation you and I had before when you was campaigning and the sign that said, I have white privilege. That's what came into my mind. So my question to you, is that what you're gonna do with it? As the council chairman? Then I hear you're actually working with the mayor on the DEI thing. Now, I don't know how true that is. That's just through the grapevine. Nobody would give us any information. And I've been asking for at least 18 months. I asked the mayor many times about his plans and he kept shunning me. He kept spinning me. I'm smart. Everybody might think I'm an ex-drug addict, ex-street guy and all. You can think what you want to think, but I probably make just as much as everybody in this room. So I'm cool with that, how you think of me. But I asked him about it. And then when I finally got a nerve to really ask him straight on, well, man, who did you ask about this? He kind of waved me off, as if, he didn't have to consult with the Black community. That's how I took it. He may not have meant that because I know I could have been viewing it from a different space. So I want to allow him that grace. But I was pissed with that, considering how much work I put in for him on his campaign. I consider him a friend. I thought we respected each other. I represented the city of Bremerton in the new space for all of y'all as it pertains to race and equity. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I was representing something for the city. And to get that response was really offensive to me, right? It's not that a DEI person is a bad thing. It's not. But without BIPOC without anything from the BIPOC community in particular, you guys setting yourself up for failure. And I'm actually shocked that y'all don't find it highly offensive and morally wrong and out of place
Mr.
that
Riley?
the community, can I
Yeah.
finish?
Yeah, but I've given you 6 minutes.
Okay,
out of
well,
3.
here's what I want. Here's all I want.
I'm not cutting you off. I'm just gonna ask you to wrap up.
Here's all I want. We would like to figure out where this thing is going forward. This is the last meeting of the year. I spent 30 months, man. 6 minutes ain't nothing. coming to meetings every month. You know what I'm saying? All we want to know is where it's going, because now you got money to pay the people for the stuff that I've been doing free. That's called slavery. That's where the colonialism come in at. So that's what I want, to figure out how we're gonna move forward and let the people who already set the groundwork and laid it for you to have a voice in it. I won't have to this chance after this month. I've been trying to say this to y'all for 30 months. That's all I want. We want to figure it out instead of leaving up to all of y'all to figure out what equity looks like for me and for people, Black people in this community. We already told you. We told y'all, we gave you the data and you disregarding it. And that ain't fair. That ain't right. That's not a public service. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. And any changes, any stuff for the race equity, racial equity advisory committee, or any will be public and will be discussed probably starting in January, I think. So basically where we're at is we're trying to get it right. And I think, as Mr. Riley said, we didn't get it. We didn't get the structure of it right, and we're looking to fix that. So anyways, anybody else for public recognition? All right, I don't see anyone else in the room, so we will go to Zoom. We will go to Susan Young.
Thank you. I was delighted to hear the announcement that was made at the December 7th meeting regarding multi-care's plans to bring a neighborhood ER to Bremerton. As you all know, our community is in dire need when it comes to multiple types of healthcare services, starting with the complete lack of emergency care anywhere in Bremerton. This didn't happen overnight, and it's the result of the efforts of a number of people, ranging from members of the community to the council and to the mayor. I want to thank everyone at tonight's meeting who supported this effort in some way. I hope this is just the beginning. Given our current population and growth projections, there's ample need to increase access to affordable, comprehensive, and equitable healthcare throughout the county, enough to support St. Michael Medical Center, along with additional healthcare providers outside the Virginia Mason Franciscan Health System. Choice in healthcare options is good for the entire county. Thank you for taking a step toward achieving that goal for the residents of Bremerton.
Thank you. Next, Marwan Cameron.
Good evening, council. Good evening, mayor. I have three things for you. The first one is my agency contracts with the county to get the unhoused into the severe weather shelter. And the street on Rydell Road in Elmira by Kitsap Mental Health is pretty bad. And so we are asked to take folks to St. Michael's late in the evening, oftentimes. And so we want to bring that to your attention there. The other thing is that a lot of work has been done to advocate for restrooms down on ML King for the unhoused. And I'm hearing some things that this is kind of stalled out. So the money is there, but people don't know where the bathroom is going to go. If the bathroom's going to go, you know, there's conversations about trying porta potties in the past. I will inform you that the county has 4 porta potties and they were deployed successfully at Veterans Park. There was an issue out there, but that was not from the unhoused, as it was from someone else. At Salvation Army, they have to make everyone leave out at least for a few hours to do their changeover or clean up or do whatever is necessary. That's even in these sub-freezing temperatures. The least that these folks should have is restrooms to use. This must remain a priority as you have earmarked the money toward it. The last thing that I want to talk about is REAC. And I will echo what Daryl Riley just said. But one thing I really would like to do is bring attention to the fact that, you know, that I attend every city council meeting. And typically, I am the only African-American that is in the space, either online or physically in the space. Your constituents aren't here. And I think that speaks to the fact that they don't have any confidence in city council or the mayor in regards to actually working on the issues that are important to them. Now, KPHD through Jessica Guidry and Lucretia Robinson over at KRL are doing some wonderful things with DE&I. And I would ask that city council and the mayor, now that this position has been funded, to reach out to your fellow organizations there in the city and really take a look at what they're doing and implement the things that are doing well and seek their counsel in that. I hope in 2023, you will redouble your efforts to the Black community and rebuild the trust and the faith that you have built up thus far. Thank you.
Thank you. And next will be Jane Rebelowski.
Hello, council, mayor. This got nothing to do with anything that's been talked about before, but on your snow and ice response, it doesn't do neighborhood streets any good to come with a plow after it's turned icy. And I'm wondering if there's any way we can just start salting residential streets, because nobody's been able to leave my neighborhood since Sunday afternoon, pretty much. I know we don't have a lot of staff, but just running through once with a sander on residential streets would make a huge difference. Nobody can leave their homes. So thanks.
Thank you. Next, Mary Lou Long.
Good evening. I'm Mary Lou Long. Merry Christmas to all of you who are attending this meeting. Happy Hanukkah to all of my Jewish friends and neighbors. And I don't know how many people celebrate other different religious groups, but happy holidays to all of your beliefs. I'm here again to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now that didn't take very long, and I know your meetings aren't very long these days. I've been watching them, and there's not one meeting that you couldn't have introduced somebody that would like to say the Pledge of Allegiance at your meetings that belongs in the city government or is a person of interest that would like to do that from one of the scouting communities in our community. I know in one meeting you did have the Boy Scouts present the flag, and then the very next meeting you kind of hid the flag in the corner of the room and didn't bring it out and didn't say anything. I'm very, very hopeful that our country will be recognized as a nation of rules and laws and fairness for everyone, and that we have a constitution that everyone should learn in school, inside and outside. And I just think that there's not enough attention to understanding what our nation stands for. So I'd just like to say, I hope you educate yourselves, I hope the public educates themselves, because it's extremely important to have an educated society in order to run a country like ours, which is a republic. Good evening and have a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you. I think you'd be surprised how much we all agreed with what you said. We'll move on to Glenna Matson.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to echo Daryl Riley and Marwan Cameron's thoughts on racial equity, the Racial Equity Advisory Committee. I wanted to say that I was not contacted by either the chair or the vice chair of the Racial Equity Advisory Committee, of which I was a member, to discuss the sunsetting of several of our terms at any point. I learned that through my fellow community members, which I am sorry to say has been typical of this group, that the city council has particularly in the last year, not provided the support and the necessary tools that we need to be successful as a group. And I've been continually, but particularly this month, incredibly disheartened by the lack of communication and collaboration, which has been slapdash at best, and I would say dismissive and obfuscating at best. And I think that, like Mr. Cameron said, the lack of confidence that the BIPOC community in Bremerton has in the city council is at this point kind of well-founded, and I'm very disappointed, and I encourage the city council to do better in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, that is our goal, to recraft this and absolutely to do better. And thank you. Thank you for your input. Is there anyone else for public recognition? Seeing none, I now close public recognition and move on to public hearings.
Public hearing item number 6A. Final public hearing on property use agreement with Active Construction, Inc. for Pine Road Stormwater Basin Improvement Project. Presenter tonight is Parks and Recreation Director Jeff Olivato.
Good evening, council. Before you tonight is the final of 2 public hearings on a use agreement. Active Construction Incorporated is the contractor that's currently working on the Pine Road Stormwater Basin project with Public Works. The contractor proposed to use a portion of Stephenson Canyon as a place to put a job trailer and temporary storage. The Parks Department worked with the contractor in coordinated removal of a lot of debris at that site in payment for use of that. First slide, please. So Stephenson Canyon, as you are aware, is on the east side of Bremerton, just west of Warren Avenue. You can see by the star here. Next slide, please. So the area that we're proposing use was an old cul-de-sac. This is an old housing area, and it consists of old foundation areas. And the area in red is the one we're speaking of. Next is a couple of pictures of the existing conditions. Obviously, there's no snow on this, so this was taken a little bit earlier, but we have large piles of vegetation debris, areas of concrete and rock, and some old wood and wooden debris. The contractor will remove all that, dispose of it properly, and that's in exchange for use of the property. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. The purpose of the public hearing is to accept public comment, and action will be taken by council members. The public hearing is open. Does any member of the public wish to comment on this item? Let's go online and Jane Rebelowski.
Yes, hello. It certainly looks like that area needs to be cleaned up, but is there a count of how many trucks and trailers and how much debris they anticipate storing there if they're going by, you just show the end of the cul-de-sac, but are they going by existing residences that may be disturbed by multiple trucks or and noise? It's a question.
Thank you.
So we don't have an exact number of how many trucks will go in. We do know that they're placing a small job shack, and they will be putting some materials as a staging area. We've defined the area that they can use and expect them to stay within that area. So there is a limit of how many things they can bring in. There is an access point through a city road. We don't anticipate tremendous amount of movement in and out. I think most of it is going to be prior to getting to work, getting in the morning, getting their stuff out of there, and then shutting down at a decent time prior to evening time. That's the best we know.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for public recognition? I now close public recognition and move on to, wait a minute, I'm sorry, I skipped a line. Seeing none, I close the public hearing and we'll go to the council for a motion. Council Vice President Chamberlin.
Thank you. Move to approve the property use agreement with Active Construction Inc. for use of a portion of Stephenson Canyon and authorize the mayor to finalize and execute the agreement with substantially the same terms and conditions as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We are open for discussion. Council Vice President.
Thank you. And, thank you, Director Elevato. Okay, so I'm embarrassed to say that I've gotten lost in Stephenson Canyon before and come out at that trailhead. I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, it's the tiniest, like, I got lost, but there's 8 trailheads, right? 8 or 9.
Several. That one's not technically a trailhead. It's a road end. You can use it as a trailhead, but it's not posted as one. So
Okay, will it be?
that helps. Yeah.
I don't know. I made it out to there somehow when I came up. And so will it be a trailhead by chance?
We don't have plans to make it a trailhead. There's no parking there for vehicles to park. You can walk in there from the sidewalk. I'm sure that's how you access it. But the main trail entrance is up by our greenhouses on the upper level. And there are parking spaces there for folks. But there are many, as you mentioned. There's one off of the off ramp off of the main highway before you go across the bridge. There's one on Mackenzie Court. There's one down on the other side by Lions Park coming up the hill. A lot of access. It's a big area, and Stephenson Canyon is a pretty large area.
I came out from Stephenson Canyon, so somebody has made it their own trailhead. But so that's why I was wondering if it was gonna be, and now I know it's right next to the city nursery there, and I was looking at the aerial view of it. Is there any plan to connect that space from the greenhouse to the new cleaned up area?
Actually, there's quite a bit of difference in grade there. So if you're up in the upper level where the greenhouses are and the main trailhead is,
Right.
it drops down 20 feet, maybe more.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure. There is a trail that you can go on the essentially it's the south side of the parking area that takes you down into the main trail system and get you that lower area, but it's not directly connected there, if that helps at all.
Okay, so the actual trailhead that I probably meant to come out of was right by the greenhouses, right?
Correct.
And so who owns that property? That's a city property or?
It is city property,
Okay.
Parks and Recreation.
Okay, and so that was a very valid question, what Ms. Rebelowski asked, which was, it's Lewis, right? Tiny street. I mean, it's just a little like it's kind of a cul-de-sac almost in and of itself, just the way that the road shapes around. Have you done any outreach to that community to find out?
We have not. We've been in the process of getting this approved, and we will definitely do that. And just to speak to that, the contractor's already working in the neighborhood, and they would have to follow all the current restrictions on construction, noise, all of those things that they're currently under their existing contract. This is just another option for them to do storage and lay down and actually benefit us by getting the area cleaned up.
That's gonna be, that'll be good. There is a lot of debris there. So there hasn't been outreach to the neighborhood yet. You said the contractors are already working there. I know they're working over at, and I'll just keep it. I'm almost done. I know that there's work over kind of right near me over off of, at the Stephenson Canyon. There's also work happening in the space close to the greenhouse? I wasn't aware of that.
It's a little, I would say it's northwest of the greenhouse. That's where it's essentially a catch basin at the end of the stream. They're doing work there. And they have had access from that area into that. They're not doing any other work that we're aware of in the main section, just down by that. I'm sorry, I don't have a good term for it. Tom, I guess.
Oh, it's the same. It's the same contractors are the ones that are working on the Sheridan Road project. Is that what you're saying? That,
Yeah, well, the Pine Road Basin
Road Basin.
drainage, yes.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think I just would, I mean, we have I like your assurance that there's not going to be a lot of in and out once the job shack is up and that they'll be shutting down at decent hours. I guess, because that road's so small, I mean, I guess I would hope that there would be a little bit of communication with the neighbors. There's not a lot of neighbors. I know there's a couple of older neighbors there that maybe they don't, well, I mean, I walked that neighborhood, during, for a time. And they might not appreciate the noise and be curious what's going on. That's all. Thank you.
We'd be happy to coordinate with Public Works and help make sure that they know about this.
Not that many houses on Lewis. I bet y'all could do it in one day, just quick. I don't know. Thank you so much. I appreciate your information.
All right, we'll go to Councilmember Mockler next.
Thanks, Council President Goodnow. Good evening, Director Elevato. I have a few questions. So as you've mentioned already, this will be a typical staging area. It'll be used early in the morning for pickups and in the afternoon, as time allows, for drop off. It'll be 5 days a week, more or less. Do you have an idea of the estimated duration?
It would be the duration of the contract for the project, and my guess is the end of March.
And okay, so beginning,
The project is underway currently. They're currently using the old Bremerton Nazarene property as a laydown yard and working in the street right away currently. Has been kind of in the works for some time, and because of the requirement to go through the park protection, we had to take it to Parks and Rec Commission, and then ultimately public hearing for council approval. So they've actually asked for this quite some time ago, and we're just working it through the process. So it's been a while. They have been working on the project. Engineering tells me that it probably will end in sometime in March.
the wheels of government do grind slowly. Thank you for that explanation. I was wondering, since this is really a built plateau directly above a very sharp declivity, Stephenson Canyon, what measures are being taken, will be taken to protect that canyon from sediment, like a silt fence with straw bales, anything like that?
I'm gonna ask that Hans bring up the presentation real quick. The area that they're gonna be in is actually the lowest area. So the plateau.
Okay.
So if you look at the two long greenhouses that are basically on the right hand of your screen, that's where our greenhouse area is. And then where you see, yeah, that's the greenhouse area. And then there's a pretty steep slope that goes south. I guess I'm sorry, it's westerly towards the proposed area. That lower area is where the staging area will be. So that's the lowest part of that section of the park, if that helps explain it.
Okay, I was misled. I looked this up on the soils map and it was glacial outwash, which seemed like a steep slope. But the third of your 3 photographs of the site, I believe, over in the back right-hand side, it looked as though it was going down. Okay, so thank you for so very courteously correcting my mistake. I'm just going to move on to a couple more questions. What materials will be stored on site?
I don't have the answer to that. It's within their contract of whatever materials they need. My guess would be piping and maybe some materials that they need to fill in the ditches. That's what our understanding is.
But no solvents or adhesives or anything like that?
Again, the contract really specifies what they can safely store and handle, and it will be the same contract.
Thank you. And what is the monitoring plan for this?
I'm sorry?
What is the monitoring plan for, overseeing the ACI's use of the site?
The monitoring will be the same monitoring and oversight that the engineering uses for the entire project.
Okay. Last question, but one, Director Elevato. Is ACI posting a bond to cover any omissions or remediation?
As part of the contract, there's possibly legal can help us with this, but we looked at the use agreement and then there is parts of the contract that will cover that. I'm hoping I'm saying the right thing.
Okay, thank you. And so I don't remember there having been a job trailer in your previous presentation, but that makes perfect sense. Will there be porta-sans, one or two porta-sans in association with that job trailer?
I apologize, but again, the actual project contract has most of that requirements in it. So the specifications and the specials that are part of the overall project require that as regular. Yeah, I mean, they'll have to secure their own property. All of those things are in place. So we're not asking for a new contract. It's an existing public works contract. This is just an additional area for them to stage up. And we'll benefit from their using that area because they'll clean it up for us.
Okay.
And the original agenda bill did state contractor has proposed use of the area of Stephenson Canyon to place a job trailer and temporary storage of associated project materials and equipment.
Okay. Okay. Then thank you very much. I'm sorry that we haven't had an opportunity to look at that contract, but this all sounds good, and congratulations on getting all of that debris moved out of there. And at some future point, when it's not the holiday week, I'd love to learn what Parks plans are for that site, because it looks like a pretty little place. Thank you.
Where we'd be happy to bring our plan to you and have you help us with that. Very, very good idea.
Thank you, Director Olivato.
You're welcome. Thank you, Vice President.
I just wanted to get some clarity. So you said the Nazarene Church has been letting you use, I mean, is it that equipment that we're moving to that space? Or is
I
that staying
apologize. I
there?
don't have details of what equipment the contractor is trying to move to that area.
Okay.
What I can tell you is that they've requested use of the Stephenson Canyon area that we identified in this. And in return for that
Okay.
use, we're going to get the area cleared up. I'm happy to find out more information
No
about that and get that to you and the public. I'm sorry, I don't have that information.
No worries. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so I just want to maybe summarize what I kind of just heard. But basically, the bigger contract really covers the treatment of all these materials, their behavior, their liabilities, and all that kind of stuff. And this is just because we're using park property. If it was a public works property, they could have just used it.
Yeah, would have been pre-arranged. Yeah, it
Okay.
would have been
And
arranged
then,
already.
again, the big contract, because it's in the city of Bremerton, covers all these sort of concerns. Okay.
That I'm looking at our attorney here. I'm hoping that's correct. I believe it is.
Yeah, the larger contract has liability issues and their requirements for the larger project in
All right.
it, so.
Well, thank you. Seeing no further discussion, I call for the question.
Councilmember Coughlin,
Yes.
Dennehy,
Yes.
Mockler,
Yes.
Younger, Chamberlin,
Yes.
Frey,
Yes.
Goodnow.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Holiday.
This concludes public hearings, and there are no general business items tonight. The next item on the agenda would be council member reports.
Okay, next we will have a brief council report since this is the last council meeting of the month and of the year. We will start with District 7, Council Member Eric Younger.
Well, thank you. I don't know if this is on or if I even need it. Can you hear me all right? Thanks. So first of all, I'd like to thank all the members of the public, both on the Zoom meeting and for Mr. Riley in particular, to come up to the podium and express his opinion. It is greatly appreciated. I'm looking at the audience. I see two members of the public, I believe, and I wish there were more. So even if it may be perceived as negative comments. I welcome more participation we can get in this government, the better. On another note, even though I just said happy holidays to Mr. Elevado, I'd like to wish everyone in the community a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and whatever other religion you may have or non-religious celebration you have this holidays. I wish you the best of times, and I wish everyone a very happy new year. On the weather front, I can't wait for this cold weather to end. I moved to Western Washington from Minnesota to avoid snow. Every year I get to experience snow, it seems, for a week or two, which is okay, I guess. Looking at my weather app, the weather forecast for next week is lows in the 40s and highs in the 40s with rain. I'll take that. So with that, good night.
Thank you. Next, District 6 Council Member Anna Mockler.
Thanks, Council President. Before I start, can I just check my volume? Because I can barely hear you guys. Am I too loud?
We can hear you.
But I'm asking, am I being too loud?
No.
Okay, let us go then. Happy end of the year. Sworn in February 22nd, 22. Yay. Moving on, please. Next slide. This is the District 6 portion of the garden tour. This is Autumn and her urban farm. Next slide, please. This is Erin and her mom in their urban farm. Next slide, please. And this is Rachel, Lauren, and Jack in their urban farm. These were just all mutual aid communities. All of these people participate in the Buy Nothing group, in the Callow Seed Library, and are really involved in just giving away seeds and doing seed exchanges and exchanging information and advice. It's a really good mutual aid community. I'm really proud of this in the district. Next slide, please. And all of Bremerton. This is Santa at High Lows. Next slide. And this is Pirate Santa at High Lows. Next slide, please. This was Krampus. I just love this shot. As soon as I started photographing Krampus, this whole scene opened up. It was a wonderful event, and I was really happy about it. Next slide, please. More Krampus. This is Krampus at Sparks Commons. Next slide. And this is the District 6 Town Hall on the second Monday of this month, where Chris Smith and Hillary Hamilton, whom you can hardly see, came and talked to people about the Bremerton One app. It was a wonderful presentation. They had even brought photographs of specific things that they had come out to look at in District 6. Really thoughtful, really well done. And just the next slide is just, since Hillary was cut off in the first photo, here she is. Next slide, please. And I'm done with all those photographs. This is my dog, clearly broken. I just really am hoping that in the coming year that I think this council has done really well, and I hope we can do even better at extending aid and responding to our communities, and that we can find more ways to address concerns that don't fit easily into a committee, like affordable housing, transparent and responsive communication, restoring and preserving our urban forest and other systems. And we could be of even more use to our city by listening to and addressing their concerns. Because the more people affect our government, the more faith they'll have in it. Public participation leads to good stewardship, because when people are invested in the city, that responds to them as transparently and quickly as possible. I really love the way this council has a big heart for Bremerton and really good heads on our shoulders too. It's been a privilege to have worked with you in 2022, and I look forward to 2023. Happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy all of the days getting longer celebrations. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is District 4, Council Member Quinn Dennehy.
Thank you, Council President. And thank you, Councilmember Mockler, for especially the dog pic. I think I'm gonna do a New Year's resolution to include more pictures in my council reports. It's a nice thing to see. First of all, I apologize for not being in the chambers today. After 3 years of a pandemic, my husband and I returned from New York with COVID-19. And so, you know, if you've been serving on council with me since July of 2021, you know, I've been messaging to stay very safe. I think we got a little too comfortable. So please, again, start wearing your masks. Definitely get your bivalent booster. It's been a rough one. I still have not recovered my sense of smell or taste yet, and I thought that kind of went out with the first variants, but it did not. So anyway, thank you for allowing me to show here. Thank you for the technology that allows it. I also want to say, you know, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Winter Solstice, which is tonight. And if you're an atheist like me, it's a former Roman Catholic that just really loves the culture of Christmas. Merry Christmas to you as well in that belief system. I did want to really thank the members of the public and the members of the REAC committee for showing up today and speaking their truths. That is greatly appreciated, and I hope it continues into next year and we get more voices. As Councilmember Younger stated, the more participation we have in government, the better. But I did write down a few thoughts just because there was some communication lags, and I want to be clear about things about REAC. So as communicated to the committee at our final meeting of the year, I plan to present a draft ordinance to fellow council members for consideration that would codify Bremerton REAC into the municipal code. This will most likely take place at our January 28th retreat. This ordinance has been analyzed, critiqued, and workshopped by the 2022 Race Equity Committee over the course of about 8 to 10 months since we, the committee, first were informed by the legal department about the need to codify the group to align with the requirements of the city charter. The citizens on the committee expressed a desire for input into the executive branch powers, such as hiring decisions, creating job descriptions, and creating goals of executive branch employees. This input requires the executive's involvement in the committee, as council cannot usurp executive powers. I'm looking forward to collaborating with the executive branch, full council, and of course the community on the best structure for ensuring race equity in local Bremerton government. One city council can consider the recommendation of the 2022 REAC. Thanks so much, everyone, and enjoy your time off.
Thank you. Next is District 3, Council Member Jeff Coughlin.
Perfect. Thank you, Council President. And as my slides come up, let me echo my fellow council members and just say we really do appreciate that public input. We need to hear it, good or bad. And I know sometimes it's difficult for a formal meeting to have a good conversation, but I think everybody here is willing to have coffee and sit down with folks. And on REAC specifically, I want to actually commend Councilmember Dennehy and Councilmember Chamberlin and Councilmember Mockler for serving on that this year. It's I know it's been a difficult subject and it hasn't been easy, but I know all three of them have worked really, really hard on it. And I think we're all going to keep working hard next year. And as Council President said, we'll keep working to get it right. So thank you all so much for tackling that. Just wanted to recap District 3. There's two main categories: businesses and public works. A couple times throughout the year, I've just kind of highlighted and welcomed new businesses to Bremerton. As I've seen them walk in the street or on social media, I'm sure I've missed a few. But here's just 16 I had logos for, and I think there were a couple more as well. So gosh, about 20 new businesses just in District 3 alone this year. It's great to see that that growth and vitality and all these small local businesses we have coming to the city. The one I had not highlighted out throughout the year is Grumble and Wine, which just opened up the other day, right up Pacific here. So I'm looking forward to more businesses coming in 2023, and grateful to be in a city that just has so many local people invest in the community. And next slide. I just wanted to highlight and recap what a great year it was for construction in the city as well. Should be loading in a second. Not big a picture. Well, just a bunch of the projects, especially District 3, should be, gosh, we had Quincy Square has been progressing so nicely. All the downtown improvements and pedestrian safety and the bike lane throughout the city going in. 6th Street repaved, sewer work on Manette, East 11th and Perry, massive project that's under construction, Washington 11th. So many great discussions between the residents there and Public Works. I know that's wrapping up planning, all the improvements along Warren and other things throughout the city. So it's been a busy year, and next year is going to be even busier as a lot of these continue, new projects start. So just a thanks to all the city staff who were working so hard to continually improve District 3 and the rest of the city. And finally, I just tried to find a couple pictures throughout the year on this final slide. Just want to echo what a wonderful first year it's been on council. I know it's been a year of a lot of change and a lot of challenges, but Council President, I want to thank you for your leadership. It's been a pleasure to work with all of you. Mr. Mayor, I had a great picture of the two of us at one of the green drinks, and I could not for the life of me find it in time to put in here. So sorry, but I want to say pleasure to work with you as well. And just a giant thanks to all the city staff who make running the city possible and a great place to live and work. And so I'm excited for next year and all the good things we have ahead. And that's it for my report.
Thank you. Next is District 2 Council Member Denise Frey.
That was such a fun report. Wow. I really appreciate Council Members Coughlin's support of small businesses, and he's very fortunate with the downtown and Manette district. It seems to draw the coolest businesses. So thank you for that. Happy holidays, everybody. The little girl in me, I may be 67, but this time of year, I'm like an 8-year-old. And I just want to wish everybody comfort and joy. Those two things are the most important things to me as I walk through life during the holiday season. A lot of people out there need comfort. And I do what I can. I know that we all do what we can. And there is joy out there for everyone, especially this holiday season. Happy winter solstice. I grew up with an uncle that had a dairy farm. And so the winter solstice was, it was a big deal, but only because it was in the Farmer's Almanac. I grew up that way. So no matter what you celebrate this season, please find the joy in those celebrations and hold on to it. It really is a magical time of year. And then I got to give a shout out to Public Works, Director Nucky, your staff, those trucks out there, and Mayor, thanks for pointing out you were covering the hills, man, because I wouldn't have been able to make it down here if those streets weren't cleared. It really makes me proud this time of year to be in a city which has such wonderful services for people. So thank you to all staff, especially those who are here tonight. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you. Next, Council Vice President Jennifer Chamberlin.
Wow, look at that picture. Wait a minute.
Right.
What was, oh, we
Hold
got
off on
that
that.
was spoiler alert on that picture. We've been waiting for our official council picture for the year, which was took a long time to get, but we made it happen. So we've had a pretty successful year. There's, we've expanded the behavioral health navigator program. We help put an ordinance in place that protects, gender affirming care and abortion care and things like that. We've done a lot of work. We have a budget, we did the budget process, and there's allocations in there, not only for, for the REAC committee, but also for bathrooms in our city. We have a lot of things that we should be proud of. And I really thought that this was going to be a little bit more difficult, and I'm hoping in the coming year, y'all are gonna make it a little more difficult for me, because it's in those discussions where we disagree and where we get all the different sides that we can come up with a better, more robust solution. I think, you know, the lens that I view life through, having been someone who comes from, you know, I used to be on state assistance. I used to have food stamps, you know, I used to, I've been evicted in a lot of places. Well, not evicted necessarily, but slept on a lot of couches in a lot of places in this town. And so the lens that I view the world through is different than some of y'all here. And so, you know, I want to hear other people's stories too. But the reason that one of the reasons I decided to run is because I felt like the lens that I viewed the world through was lacking. You know, it's been said that maybe I don't see the perspective of people who are homeowners and pay taxes, and that I'm only viewing through the lens of our houseless community, the most vulnerable. I'm okay with that because their voice is not heard enough. So we really need to find a solution to get some dignity to our folks in downtown Bremerton. We need a bathroom, and I'm really kind of frustrated by the bureaucracy of it and by the lag of time, and there's no plan. And I'd like to see something happen. We allocated funding for it, so we need to see it through. And waiting until February when we meet for public safety again is a little bit too long because folks are facing, you know, freezing temperatures. I don't even know, but sometimes not everybody can get into that shelter either. The one shelter that we have in our downtown core. I talked to a lady the other day who she's a walker, and she was banned from Salvation Army. Luckily, they let her in for the emergency shelter. But she, you know, she doesn't even have the resources to use email. She doesn't know how to do an email. And she's out there and she's getting banned from these shelters. And her tent was in shambles after the snow. So I just, you know, would love for more of you to come down and view the world through the eyes of the people that are not, you know, just squatting down in our downtown core using our public resources, but they have legitimate issues, mental wellness, physical disabilities, legitimate issues that prevent them from being able to access affordable housing, resources. So thank you. Happy winter solstice. I wish that I could have my traditional backyard fire, but I'm afraid my fire pit is under snow still. So thank you. Happy New Year. And I do appreciate you all.
Thank you. Yeah, it is the solstice. I think I saw somewhere that there's only 8.5 hours of sunlight today. That's kind of interesting. I want to wish all the residents here in the city happy holidays, and you know, thank the city staff and my fellow council members. Just what I think was a very successful year. It's really an honor to serve. But I just want to also say that I don't think any of us take this because we think it's going to be easy. You know, and conversations around race equity have been, you know, really, really challenging. And I believe in, like Mr. Riley, no less than when we started into this. And, you know, I feel a little disappointed that maybe I let him down. But I think there's rules on how many of us can get involved. So I have to let REAC do REAC until it comes in front of all of us and things like that. But everyone's committed to making this and other things right, and to getting restrooms in place as fast as we can and things like that. So yeah, anyways, we're not perfect. We're not in a perfect spot, but we're moving in the right direction, and I'm confident in the folks that I'm serving with. So yeah, and I'm glad that everyone is able to join us tonight. So if I can get my first slide up. Ta-da. So this is really, really interesting, actually, that this is the last meeting of the year And it took, I mean, we had to get a time that we were all together. We had to get a photographer. So this is one of our council photos. I like this one. This is maybe my second favorite. Can we go to the next one? Not much of a change, but I think this will be the official council portrait. But my favorite picture is probably the next one. So I'm gonna have you, actually, I'm gonna have you switch to the next slide. And I'm gonna have you leave that up for the rest of the meeting until we adjourn. So we do, so happy holidays again from all of us. The council members will now be in executive session for 10 minutes to discuss pending litigation as allowed under RCW 423110 1I, and action is anticipated. Council, basically, as soon as we adjourn, the clock starts. So if we can reassemble back there, that would be awesome. So 20, okay, so we are adjourned. Back in 10 minutes. I call the meeting back to order. We will now go to the council for a motion. I'm going to ask the assistant city attorney to read the motion.
The motion would be moved to approve settlement with Carol Weber in the amount of $175,000 and authorize the mayor to execute a release and settlement agreement in substantially the same or similar terms as presented.
First and a second.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Did you get to the people on that? We have a motion and a second. I call for the question.
Councilmember Dennehy,
Yes.
Mockler,
Yes.
Younger,
Yes.
Chamberlin,
Yes.
Frey,
Yes.
Coughlin,
Yes.
Goodnow.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
This is our last council meeting of the year. The next council meeting will be held here in the first floor meeting chambers on Wednesday, January 4th, beginning at 5:30 p.m. with a remote option. This concludes tonight's regular council business. This meeting is adjourned. Happy holidays.
Bye, everyone.